Okay, everybody, it's 12 o'clock noon, Friday, April 25th, 2025. My name is Erin, and I am Erin Sharp Newton, and I am the chair for AIA New Jersey Women in Architecture. I'm super pleased to share and to host this event with Dana Chermesh-Reshef from inCitu, to bring you this educational opportunity. Dana is the CEO of inCitu. She's the founder and the founder of the first ever augmented reality platform for architects, planners, stakeholders, general public, developers to be able to use this platform to be able to visualize and see on site in situ projects as they're being developed. And I'm pretty excited to see this um, as it's, the visualization technology. She's worked hard to create, like, to democratize access to vision, to planners' visions and architects' vision. So I'm super excited to see this. I met Sydney Upchurch, who's the COO of inCitu at New York Build when Women in Architecture attended New York Build this year. And so I'm just grateful that everybody hustled to, pull this together. It was not, it's not super in advance. We actually literally just met in like March, right? Am I right about that? March? Was it that or February?
Think so,
Anyway,
yeah.
yeah, so this is pretty exciting. And I just also want to thank everybody for attending. Women in Architecture always need support. So everybody who sits and takes a seat and puts an ear to the things we're talking about supports us as a whole. And keep your eye on the AIA New Jersey Women in Architecture. You just search like AIA New Jersey Women in Architecture or WIA to find out other events. We will have an event coming up this summer for people who are navigating licensure with Abigail Benjamin. So, just keep your eye out for the things that we have going on. And I'm going to quickly pass it to Donna.
Thank you so much, Erin, and thank you, Sydney and Erin, for putting this together. Super excited to be here. I'm an architect myself, so I'm always excited to speak with other architects and planners, and also a woman myself, and inCitu as a woman-led team and company. All of our executives are women and actually mothers too, so we are really rooting for seeing more and more women innovating in this space of shaping our cities and built environment. So a little bit about myself before I will start and present inCitu. So as I said, I'm an architect. I'm originally from Israel, studied architecture in Tel Aviv and practiced there in the city center of Tel Aviv for 6 years before moving to New York. I'm calling today from Brooklyn, moving to New York in 2017 to study urban data science. So I actually shifted away from the day-to-day practice to develop more data-driven, tech-driven solutions for the built environment. And the reason or motivation that I had to do so was that in the early days of being an architect and working in this like hectic urban development realm of Tel Aviv, and especially 2011 was in the Middle East, the Arab Spring, and a lot of like civil uprising, I saw this gap between how important cities are, but how complex the whole process and broken the whole process of urban development was. And despite the fact that it was very rich in information, and most of this information was also open to the public, I felt that I had this superpower. As a planner or architect, I used to walk down the streets and say, hey, I know that even if my eyes are seeing a 3 stories building, there is a master plan that already approved that it will be 8 stories, right? And I was like, wait, why am I the only one who can see it? Why can't anyone see, like me, the future of our built environment? And that became inCitu. So inCitu is a New York-based company on the mission to really bring the future of cities to life with augmented reality, to democratize access to this information, to empower anyone to understand how their cities and communities are changing. So this will be a presentation. We'll have time for discussion. I would love to hear from you. Feel free to put questions in the chat or stop me with questions. And thank you. So first, our learning objectives for today. We'll understand a little bit what is spatial computing and immersive engagement and what it means for architecture and planning, how we really want to see the standards evolving. Learn practically how to integrate AR into our day-to-day workflows and client presentations. We'll explore some inCitu use cases from the past few years. inCitu, by the way, I said it's New York based. We're here since end of 2020, so mid-COVID, founded the company. And with kind of like open your mind and interest in integrating AR to our day-to-day strategies of engagement, stakeholders engagement, and review. So a little bit big picture, what is spatial computing? What is AR? So spatial computing is like a bigger, or XR, right? Extended realities is everything that is not the actual reality, but augmented reality is this type of spatial computing that superimposes digital information on top of the real world and combining them. So you're not away from the world, which is virtual reality right here. We're enriching the physical world with more and more information to make complex ideas much more natural, tangible, and immersive. What it means for architecture is that we can envision projects inCitu as if they're built in their actual future context instead of maps and site plans or bird's eye view of models or renderings, right? And again, the big power of AR is the ability to lower the friction to communicate and understand big projects or big ideas, big visions, again, in the most tangible and accessible way for the non-professional type of human. Specifically, we are using mobile AR. So both AR and VR, like here, have goggle-based solutions. But we are really at inCitu very early in our days. We decided to double down on the device that everyone have, which is today's smartphones. Goggles are not yet very accessible. It will take time until all of us are walking with some glasses that will superimpose more and more information. Probably we'll get there someday, but we want to democratize this information now. So mobile AR, unlike those goggles, also has the value or the advantage of being super accessible, also very intuitive. We don't need to teach anyone how to scan a QR code and look through their phone camera. And we see how empowering it is for people to experience urban change through the device they trust the most, unlike coming to this planning hearing or community meeting. And I'm sure folks here have the experience of trying to present something and you come with your beautiful project and you don't understand why everybody's just angry. But letting them control the situation really gives kind of a sense of agency to people. So why are we doing what we're doing? Again, like in my early days, and then even after I moved to New York, I realized that this problem is everywhere. That in this point in time, even after the open data movement succeeded and most of the information about permits or land use applications or big master plans, everything is open to the public, right? But it's very inaccessible. And although also participation is open to the public, usually the conversation looks something like that. And of course, this is not helpful to anyone. Residents are angry and feel that development is there on their expense. Of course, developers and investors and cities and the professionals like us in the process are suffering from projects being massively delayed or rejected or just becoming counterproductive. And the cities too, sometimes fail to bring the innovation and development that they must bring in order to deal with our current urban challenges, provide housing, repair declining infrastructure, adapt to climate change issues and needs, etc. But what if we could show people the future through the palm of their hands? So again, this is the power of AR and mobile AR to make all of this much more simple, engaging, lightweight, and real-time data-driven. So inCitu brings the future of cities to life through augmented reality to foster better collaboration around the process of urban change. Practically what we're doing, we're taking planning information into its urban context. We are obsessed with the idea of meeting people where they are, whether those people are our team or stakeholders when we review designs or when we go out there to really engage the public. We turn those hard to imagine ideas into location-based, mobile-based AR experiences, again, lowering the friction to communicate and understand projects as if they're built. We're working with all the range of city makers, city shapers, right? From architects, engineers, construction companies, for them in their internal or external processes, working directly with city and also regional agencies, planning, Department of Buildings, Economic Development, Parks and Recs, etc., to really embed and deploy this AR as a standard. This is how we communicate. This is how the city informs people in regards to what's happening around them. We also work with real estate developers and also can be an add-on on other digital twins or 3D solutions to basically be this AR enablement for built environment workflows. How it is done. So the product is called inCitu AR, and as Erin kindly shared, it's the first AR platform that is designed for us city makers, for non-AR people. There are more AR tools out there, right? But most of them are very like for creatives or selfies, or you have to be a gamer or a creative technologist to be able to create AR. This is exactly the opposite. No code platform to basically turn your ideas to AR in minutes or seconds. There is a free trial, so I encourage all of you to try. We love it the most when architects are actually trying to use it. So it will be great, and we're always happy to hear feedback. I'll run through the technicals here quickly on how it works, but you either upload a 3D model. We have also sample models library if you want one of our templates, or you can integrate to your ArcGIS, and also we recently introduced Autodesk Forma plugin. And you place it in the world, you generate a QR code. Now this QR, and this is here important for this idea of meeting people where they are, leads you to what's called app clip in iOS or instant app in Android, which means it's a chunk of an app that does not require the download of an app. So for the end user, for your audience, the person who walks down the street, they don't need to know anything, not about the project, not about inCitu. They don't need to download or look for something specific. All they need to be is curious enough to scan this QR code or open the link, and they'll get straight from QR to AR. Now, these QR codes are smart QRs, which means they know if you scan them in the location or away from it. If it's in the location, as we talked until now, it's this on-site. Again, it just pops up. Basically, scanning the QR unveils the future, real scale, as if it's built. But we don't want to limit the experience to only the site, and also there are many sites that are less walkable, whether they are just not accessible to pedestrians, or there is a will to include that in some kind of website or form. So there is also this remote interactive AR, which is more simple technically, but it's like a tabletop view, very, very useful for those planning hearings, community charrettes, etc. And again, the desktop web map is also auto-generated. That's the same URL of the QR. Not only the technology, we also work with our partners and clients or just sharing resources on how to effectively embed AR in public engagement and in communicating information about developments. So from redesigning the planning notices to sticking those 3D decals around sites, really working with our clients to think about how to build awareness to the fact that this information is out there. We love tapping into local events or creating local events. Now it's what we call in inCitu the AR season. So spring in New York is definitely the AR season. Everybody's out of their holes after the winter, just want to be outside. So actually next weekend, we have a Jane's Walk on Friday, and then another event, a block party on Saturday. I can share after with everyone, and whoever can come, it will be great. We call those walks in the future because we are walking and unveiling the future of different neighborhoods. And those are really engaging, even if after we want to just leave the QR codes out there and get like the organic day-to-day engagement, these are really good to kind of celebrate the fact that, hey, this information is accessible to anyone. Also pretty easy to build like online campaigns out of the on-site view. You record your screen and then you can embed it in social media or other videos, even brochures, etc. When we come to measure impact and what does this immersive first approach result in, we see time after time that it truly restores the initial process intention, which is enabling the development of innovative, bold visions to the cities of tomorrow. We are able to go beyond and reach beyond the usual suspects of NIMBYs usually that coming to participate in those hearings. We're getting much broader participation and truly representative audience of more young and more economically diverse people, more renters, very different than the small group of classic participants in the process. And this naturally results in more positive, less aggressive discussion and feedback. One, because those voices that are usually excluded from the conversation are those that truly need development and maybe less afraid of density or of different people. But also amongst the skeptical ones, we see this relief when something pops up in front of them, and it's very different compared to their response when they see it as a rendering, right? So something we laugh is that people's initial reaction is usually, oh, that's not too bad, and that's maybe not what you wish for your amazing project, but it's definitely, we see people smiling, right? And it's very different than the usual engagement or participation. I'll show some case studies. And I see that there are things on the chat I will read and reply after. So really from individual buildings to master plans and from actual designs to concepts, everything can be visualized in AR. This is some work that we're doing with another tech provider that is trying to digitize all the zoning data, zoning resolution of New York. So we are viewing bulk envelopes and doing community education about what zoning is, what are those messing, really from conception. More lightweight and definitely not trying to show as it's designed. This is even the more radical of community visioning of public spaces. And this is the block party we're having next Saturday with Gotham Park. It's the 9 acres underutilized below the Brooklyn Bridge on the Manhattan side. We already had a fundraiser event with them where families and other community members kind of built from Legos and Magnetiles what they imagined from the field, and we scanned it and we'll celebrate it in AR next weekend. this is more like an official ballot initiative that we took part of last year, and it was very successful, approved by voters on November 5th in Central Ohio. A big transportation vision of a new corridor that will be more like micromobility oriented, transit oriented development. For 6 months, the COTA, Central Ohio Transit Authority, communicated with AR, through AR with the public, this future corridor. More than 2,000 individuals viewed the future on site, and hundreds of thousands more viewed it over the media. They did incredible work in combining the kind of offline and online engagement, and again, approved by voters to actually move forward with this amazing initiative. Um, this is here in the Bronx, affordable housing and more like communicating things that are already under construction. And maybe here it's less about the official public feedback, right? Because it's already under construction, it's approved. But still, construction is, as we all know, it's quite a hazard. People are definitely not enjoying construction site when it's near them. So there is something about letting them at least see how this will look like, and especially especially impactful when it comes to historically marginalized communities that definitely don't, they're not used to being well informed or having their voice heard. More and more applications of climate issues, whether it's sea level rise impact on different building codes and building typologies. This is a work by the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council. And we see just last week, our client in Kauai, Hawaii, started to do a similar thing with hazard ignition zones, so mitigating the risk of wildfires. So again, really, we see this AR being impactful on every single urban challenge of our days. This is a little more from our community of creators, from just paper and napkin building to AR, through actual community justice work and public advocacy with communities in New Orleans. Now, before I'll finish, those two resources that I'll share later, which are really impactful, one of them is the actual like technicalities of what it means to develop 3D or design in 3D for real-time rendering, for spatial computing and AR. Most of us, I assume, are doing 3D in our day-to-day, whether it's SketchUp or Rhino or Revit. But most of us are not well familiar with what it takes, what it requires to really adapt it to AR. So there are some do's and don'ts that you can watch this, and I'll share or show documentation in a minute. And this is everything that, again, is beyond the tech. We recently published this guide of effective public engagement with AR, 10 kind of high-level steps of how to effectively engage residents with augmented reality in regards to their built environment. So this is a guide that all of you can download. Now I'll end with the big picture of the revolution that we are all in right now, which is the spatial computing revolution. And kind of like the digital transformation is moving to 3D. And we see how this 3D is combined with AI more and more. And it's kind of like AR is becoming the interface for AI. And I think that now that all of us will more and more interact with with our physical world with information, and let's say we can agree that there is a problem of misinformation in our days, we really think that it's critical for cities and professionals to really take ownership of this revolution, making sure that the information that we'll all be living in will be reliable, will be empowering, and will be used for public good. So we really see augmented reality as the standard of the future and hopefully near future of how all of us are shaping cities, and that's where we want to see the industry going towards. Thank you. I will stop share for a minute and hear your thoughts.
Well, that was really, really excellent. I have a lot of questions, but I think now's the time for questions, comments, anything, anybody from the audience they really wanted to allow some time for discussion to ask questions like, how do you really, like, how does somebody start to use this platform? How do you start from zero? Or, I mean, my comments are, I actually would really love the seawater seeing the impact of climate change. I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, I know your platform, but I didn't actually register that. Being able to walk and see the impact of climate change, and as well as the hand sketches.
Yeah,
Seeing like a napkin sketch, and seeing that, the even a napkin sketch, like you can start to get a better feeling than just looking at a flat set of drawings.
yeah.
I have a handful of questions, but I really would like to open it up to everybody. And now you're all invited. I'm gonna to take yourself. I think we have a thing where the cameras are off, but I'm gonna invite everybody to come jump in and start to talk if anybody has any ideas, questions, or comments. You guys are always too quiet on a Friday. Please, people, come on out. Does anybody here see like an opportunity that they could use this platform? I do think this idea of the walking through New York, there are a lot of in situ boxes, like just being able to go and check it out. I actually was scanning some of the QR codes while I was sitting here. Yeah, Alina's on. Hi, Alina. She's a former WIA chair. Um, what about for forensics? Are you going to ask a forensic question? Like, how can forensics use this platform?
I'm thinking of some good questions right now. Don't put me on the spot.
So,
I
Alina's
can
a
maybe
forensic
share
architect.
screen.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Mm.
I can share my screen and show how to start in the middle. And I know that it's not that all of you were not in the same physical space right now. When we are, when I do presentations um, in person, we usually do a demo together. We kind of like drop a building outside of the
Ooh,
window.
fun.
So we can, if anyone wants a building outside of their window, first you can do it yourself, and I'll show now how. But if someone wants to share their address, we can do a demo. But I will maybe until there are
I'll
some
give you my address and you can give me like a super modern house.
good. So please do. I will share again the screen and show kind of how to start. So first, this is our website, the general website, and this is the inCitu AR. And again, upload, share experience. You can start with a free trial. So again, you don't need to put any payment method or anything. So encouraging all of you to start here. And then this is documentation that you can get from here. Documentation on how to get started and how to prepare models to AR, what are the file types, kind of adaptation of models, how to reduce polygons and choose the right material. So there is a lot here. Some best practices of exports from other common 3D software. But then again, we can publish together. And then there are here some good testing guidelines of how to best test your AR on site when you first publish your project. And for creators, you have this ability to do AR edit mode and actually optimize on site. So you don't have to go back to your computer to make small changes. And this is important. Your audience will not have these capabilities. It's just if it's your project that you published. So the platform itself looks like this. Wait, what happened here? It takes a few seconds, but a gallery with all of the projects. but we're creating a new project here. Oh, here, those are all the projects that we have in AR, and you can see that they are like large scale and specific. This is like a street, or yeah, piece of a street, and more. We can either upload our model or from our model library. So if Erin, you want to choose one, please do.
Oh yeah, the mixed use residential. We'll try that. We've been doing a lot of that in our area. You want
Cool.
my address? Oh,
Yes, please. Not in a creepy way. We'll not do anything.
yeah. Okay, so ready? I'm gonna tell you out loud. Is that good?
Yeah, sure. Let's
Okay. Oh my God, it's gonna be on the recording. Hold on a second. No, I'm gonna send it to you in
oh,
a
While you guys
private
are
chat.
doing that, I actually have a question about, well, Erin was saying that I do forensic work. And I believe that inCitu can also help with comparing as-built condition versus design condition, correct?
yeah, I mean the technology is agnostic to show whatever you put in it, right? So it's
Yeah.
talked only today about the future and city planning, but there is no reason to not also show the past of communities,
Yeah.
or what was there, or what,
So my work actually involves like deviations from approved plans, for example. So and also maybe
yeah.
in court, we can actually show the two side by side. So instead of hiring a graphic designer to or graphic person specifically, I could do this myself, you know, as an architect. I can show that for any kind of presentations to clients or correct?
Yeah, you are, and you can definitely show like the difference between what was approved and what is actually being built.
And
And that's
potentially
something that
even
we've been
damage
talking to.
reconstruction. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I was gonna say almost also maybe damage reconstruction for people who do restoration work potentially. Yeah, I
Absolutely.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been talking to a client who is really interested in engaging the public to understand how master planning works. And one of the things they want to do is to use our platform to show visualizations of how the last master plan that was active for the last 10, 15 years, how that actually manifested in different changes in the built environment. So as they prepare a new master plan and communicate to the public the importance of it and the effect that it will have, they can illustrate that by looking at a past plan and how that changed the city. So really it's very useful for revealing, anything that is unbuilt, whether it was built in the past, doesn't exist anymore, if it's going to be built, or these are things that are in people's imaginations. So we see kind of three different layers here. There's the future built environment, the past built environment, and then all of the conversations around it, which sort of exist in our imaginations and also in digital space.
I think that's really relevant, Sydney. I mean, having where I live, we've had all kinds of different development and changes and so on. And we had, big Main Street and like master planning. And I think it would be really great for the public to be able to see like scale, although some of it might have scared them. For me, actually, what I wish I had been able to see was actually and I was able to imagine it, but it was like also the scale of empty space, the scale of like green space, the scale of like for a developer, and you and I talked about this, Sydney, the importance of having some of this in between space and green space, like really showing a developer and an investor how the value that creating some of this in between space, courtyards, and even proportions, like the difference of a zaggy courtyard
Yeah.
versus like a nice square, like clean courtyard. I
Yeah, so
think
for
are all,
zoning purposes, right? For
yeah.
people who actually do, right.
And that's another good
Developers.
point. Yeah, to say
It's
if we have
something.
mixed use versus just residential.
Yeah, this is something that we hear more and more from our city clients that are approving ADU policies.
Mhm.
And it's really hard to engage homeowners in this idea of what does this really mean? And we see that communicating this with the QR code in mailboxes, right, really makes it very tangible for people to actually go to their actual backyard and take a look what it will
Yeah.
mean to have an ADU. And
Yeah,
whether
homeowners often have a trouble visualizing, like we
Exactly.
visualize, but they do, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel that this is something that all of us professionals in this field, it's kind of like a wishful thinking, right? We always hear this wish of if only they could see it, right? Like I'm trying to explain and engage them, but if only they could see it, if only they could effectively visualize. And that's why we are here. So yes, from those big policies to, even this was another webinar we had about safe streets design. And community advocacy in that sense. And we talked about the zoning. This one was another one with students that we did some more of community visioning and, Legos and Play-Dohs.
Oh,
Yeah.
And it's really great for capturing,
wow.
there are so many concepts of urban planning and architecture that can be elusive to other visualization methods, like the feeling of a certain FAR, for example. And we know, intuitively as we're walking through cities that certain urban arrangements and types of architecture make us feel a different way and make us interact with our environment in different ways. And that's very difficult to experience from a visualization that is not at scale and that you can't interact with. So by putting a project in its actual size, and for example, being able to visualize a zoning envelope for an FAR of 5 compared to an FAR of 10 can help people understand the sort of like emotional and psychological effects that different projects and arrangements can have on the city and on them, and how they and other residents are actually able to experience the city, and how the form and function of the city relates to plans in a way that is not always accessible when reading the text of a plan or looking at 2D or static images.
That's wonderful.
Oh, super interesting. I also want to say, like, just giving a shout out for, I know that you guys offered me as teaching at Kane to come and meet with students. So, semester is almost over. The kudos to, also going to schools and trying to also help the next generation who I'm I'm guessing are probably really receptive and excited about what this all means coming out of like Minecraft games and stuff, into the city, and seeing that Play-Doh was really, really actually delightful watching the person walk through.
And
How
actually,
could our
in that sense, this Wednesday, Cornell Tech Urban Transformation class had their final reviews, and two teams have used inCitu to actually show. I think their project was to choose a New York bid and propose a change. So it was great to see students starting to feel very natural about AR, and this is part of the visioning workflow, right?
And it's so relevant to, I feel like, the way that our brains are evolving as humans, and younger people are so accustomed to immersive technology in everyday life, in gaming, in other industries, in shopping, and consumers expect it. And it's really this very interesting moment in time where it's just starting to pervade in professional industries, but there's really sort of a changing consumer expectation on the way that we as humans digest and understand information. And as spatial computing becomes more ubiquitous, it's changing the way that we're able to digest and understand information, to now that we have capabilities to make technology and bigger concepts so much more accessible on a human scale in a way that's intuitively understandable for us. And so I feel like we often talk about how we're at this point where AR is quickly becoming a must-have. It's not just a fun kind of design option or a good marketing tool. It's actually required for people to understand projects to the level and sort of the depth and detail that they need to be able to make informed decision making.
That's really great. I had another question, but I got too like spaced out watching that really cool video there. I'm struck, especially under the Gotham Park Bridge, Brooklyn Bridge, how it also is a platform for being able to see if you put in like an artwork or a sculpture and how much just a simple sculpture can, add dynamism to a forgotten place. Um, so we have some questions here. Let me see. There's 6 things in here. Let's see if somebody else is jumping in to engage because I would love that. Um, can you share any brochure or link so that attendees can communicate with their town building department or the mayor? Um, and I want to say, I think based on my experience with Sydney, is that you guys are actually accessible. If somebody's like, okay, this is interesting, but I don't understand anything, I just understand that it's kind of cool and I might be able to use it, that they can reach out and just have informal discussion with inCitu to find out like how you might go forward. Because um, yeah, I mean, I think, I'm interested in having New Jersey, have access to, I know you're doing a lot of stuff all over New York, so what I'm really
Yeah.
interested in is seeing this around New Jersey. So she shared that, by the way, Esdalvi. She shared a link there. So, and everybody, I'm going to put in my email into the chat. So if people want to reach out to me directly, I also have a bunch of like, I've what do you call, absorb their website to some degree, and their website does have a lot. Oh, Alina shared, so awesome. Not account speak at the moment, but but her comment is that this technology is great to aid architects and their clients tremendously in visualizing the project. She finds it very interesting. She's waiting for the video to focus closer on what Donna shared with us, navigating the website. Um, and then
But yeah,
Donna.
we have 9 US cities right now, our clients on our platform, and a lot more sort of in the pipeline who we're talking to. We've got Phoenix, Arizona, Washington, DC, Myrtle Beach, really all over the place. And we love rolling out to more city clients and seeing all the interesting ways that different cities use us in different departments. Like we work with departments of building, departments of planning, climate resilience and sustainability groups. And so, that's a really kind of interesting component of the work and clients that we really love working with. So please feel free to send them our way.
Yep.
Yeah, this Reeves project is fabulous. I mean, I think we really could have used this in a couple places.
This is very interesting because we engaged, this is the architect, Michael Marshall. We got to him through the Department of Buildings after he won the project. And we started to show it in AR before the design was finalized. So the QR codes were actually there for 18 months, and his office updated the design about 4 times along during these 18 months. So people could actually see the evolution of the design from it wasn't a bulk envelope, right? There was a design, but more conceptual to actually finalized design, which is incredible. Like that's how you want people to feel and be engaged with the evolution of their city.
Yeah.
This is
Fabulous.
very exciting, I think. I think it could be used for multiple purposes, and I think that it's going to help our cities be more beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I
Cut
think
off car.
Civic engage. Sorry,
Getting
somebody's
off the car.
yeah. Well, that's kind of, I noticed that too. So we talked about urban planning. We talked about children getting, young children. I love the Play-Doh model. I said that once before. I'm
Yeah.
saying it again. City members, um, environmental impact, forensic applications to show like before and after. These are all really, really
Zoning
fabulous.
studies and violations. Yeah.
Yeah,
We have a
yeah.
webinar
Oh, and
next
ADUs.
week on using AR for heritage preservation in
Right.
Charleston.
I'll put it here as well.
Oh, that would be great. That'll be great.
Yeah, and Erin, I'll share with you a few links, also those that we just put in the chat and discuss, but also the couple of events that we have next week. So it's the webinar on Thursday, then the Jane's Walk on Friday, and the community block party on Saturday. So I'll share everything with you.
I might have missed this, but I have a question. When you put in your model in it, does it, it looks like it does take into account the lighting, right? Whether it's coming from the east or west or south. The
So
way
that depends on the model. It's we encourage people to include the lighting in the model itself. There are ways to do it in all of those 3D platforms. We played with some capabilities of actually calculating where you stand and what is the weather and everything. It's possible. It's not yet applied to every project. We can talk about it if you have a specific project that you want very detailed. So
Okay.
we can make it work. Yeah.
That's an interesting question, like what a thing looks like at night. That sounds like a future, like, yeah, a future idea. So this is a historic preservation here?
Yeah, that's the first time we will actually show the past, or officially show the past. But Paul is an
Huh.
incredible client of ours. His mission in life is to bring lost Charleston back to life, or his mission at least now. And he's for more than a year, he's been working with our tool and with our team to actually bring um, actual, designs from the history of Charleston to Charleston residents. So he's going to what he did and discuss with Nick, our community manager. So please join us. It's Thursday, 2 to 3. And then, yeah, the Jane's Walk here. This is this one. And we have
That's actually really interesting because a lot of them, like bringing it to small town, like coming out, bringing you guys out of New York into like, smaller town USA,
Yeah.
from my perspective is that type of. I sat with we had an event for Notre Dame this week for AIA Central New Jersey, and I sat with one of the architects that's been doing work in Flemington in our town for years. And one of the things I heard him go on this story about how Flemington used to be, how there used to be this, and there was a movie theater, and there was this kind of store, and there was this kind of like there were these charming, active places. And I think that that's also very interesting, even though you're saying Charleston's like a first we just in my class is focused on this demolition site of a jail, so like maybe even
yeah,
there's still a chance for that, even though I thought it was too late, to be able to show what was there, like in a not cool way, like this is
yeah.
what we got rid of, because it was on Main Street. It was like a jail in Main Street, in a main in a like Main Street USA environment, and there was this, what do you call, monolithic jail, and now it's gone. And like to see
Yeah.
like, oh, like actually how like unbuilding can actually be also a benefit. So these are really interesting. Back to
And we
you.
also saw a few weeks ago someone from NYU. She's from LA originally, and she wanted to show a piece of street that was destroyed in the fires in January. And she did it with AR, and it was incredible. Incredible. We literally just like with our phones in Soho in New York, walked into this street of LA, right? So yes, there is a lot of value in preserving the past and memorializing want to build memory of. So there are, to us, it's not, yes, there is the importance of enabling city planning, right? And development and empowering people to understand what's going on around them. But I think even bigger than that, the built environment is just full of so much information about the past and the future, right? And we can today kind of bring it all to the present to experience it, whether it was there and it's gone or it will never be. Maybe some things that were proposed and did not happen or things that might be built one day.
I always think about mental health, and now I'm sitting here. One last thought that I'm having as I'm looking at this, thinking of Hudson Yard, and knowing some like dark history about the
Yeah.
Hudson Yards. I thought it just made me invoke my thought about mental health, and the considerations when you're talking about having the goggles. So a lot of urban cities actually don't have places for people to go and sit and have like this kind of nice green space, or like even blue, certainly not blue space, and unless it's like blue sky space. And so this idea also of being able to use this immersive, um, like when you're talking about goggles, like I can really see in the future, like what are some of the future plans? But like I can see the future, like, okay, I'm gonna go sit. Let's say like I'm in, West Philadelphia or some part of Philadelphia where there's just really like hot and uncomfortable, like to just, be able to sit outside and have like some augmented reality around me where there's like at least like the sense of trees, because the brain actually still does well with the sense of a thing, not like as well, but it still like will do well if there is a sense of green and that kind of environment. So what are some of the future plans for inCitu? What's in your if I can ask, like, do you have what are some of the things you're working on developing as we start to wind down the meeting?
So we are really working hard on kind of like top down and bottom up. On the bottom up, it's building more and more integrations and plugins to more architecture and planning tools. So we already have an integration to ArcGIS and the plugin to Autodesk Forma. So a plugin to SketchUp is coming up next, and then it will be Revit, and we want to do Rhino and Blender after that. So this is again like meeting the professionals where they are, right? And kind of like making it truly like an enablement tool of whatever you're doing on whatever platform, you should be able to also very easily go outside and see it. So this is one. Then top down, we really see how impactful it is to work with those cities that on the decision-making level, they want to push for more transparency, more engagement, and more digital transformation. So as Sydney shared, we already work with 9 US cities. Our goal is to be deployed in 25 US cities by the end of 2026. And then besides that, on the technical visualization level, so Elena, yes, the lighting and shades and everything. So to enable that in AR, to really embed more and more AI in terms of like adaptation or optimization of 3D, to take it from us, this friction of doing all those adaptation and let the machine do it. So we are exploring more and more how this can be automated. And also incorporate the impact of planning, right? So I know like cities are doing this environmental review, and what does that mean on the street if we develop this and this many units here or there. So I think another kind of like dream is to not only have the physical model, but also how it impacts the surrounding in terms of GHG emissions or transportation, noise, etc. So those are kind of like later long-term development that we are planning.
Well, you're obviously a dreamer and a doer, and I love seeing vision come into like actuality. I just really like it. We have 7 minutes
We
left.
couldn't do it without these type of conversations, and really the feedback and the hearing how you see it as practitioners, and this applies to your day-to-day work. So thank you for giving us the space to share.
Well, I just really urge everybody here to reach out to them while they're available, because I have a feeling in like 5 years that Donna and Sydney are going to be so busy that they're going to be like pretty much inaccessible, and we're going to get an AI representative when we call them. But in the meantime, I really do urge everybody, because I know that this this democratization of the access to this platform is important to the leadership at inCitu. So whether you're a small practice or a larger practice, I do urge you to start a conversation with them, and to see, like, just even just to have a conversation, invite them to your office, invite them to present to your people or whatever, if you're an academic or a you know I mean, I look forward to someday maybe bring you into one of the classes. If I had met you guys
Absolutely.
6 months
Love that.
earlier, we could have we could have given it to my evening class, of which I know I have at least one student on right now, so that would have been really fun too. But anyway, I think it's really awesome. Alina, did I miss anything?
Have you been presenting to engineers as well? I think this
Yeah,
is
absolutely. We are many times being included in RFPs, and usually it will be the large engineering firm that will subcontract
That's
us.
great.
So many of our more big hands-on, high-profile projects are in partnership with those engineering firms.
Great.
Great. So thank you very much. If anybody wants to like meet me, Alina, are you going to the Pascal Women in Architecture, along with Equity in Architecture, along with National Organization Minority Architects? I forgot to mention this, and I see Taylor on here. We are having
I'd love
an
to.
in-person event. So my email's in the chat. We're having an in-person event coming up. If anybody wants to come and meet us, and you guys are certainly welcome to come from New York. There is a train station just a block away. We're going to have an in-person event bringing together like all these the diverse little our diverse communities into one space.
Can you pick me up and drop me off back home?
We can commute, yes. Yes, for sure. Anybody coming from Flemington can commute with us. But I just really want to thank everybody for supporting women in architecture, the AIA, our profession, the built environment, and showing up for inCitu. I cannot thank you guys enough. Sydney, you are just really wonderful. Thank you so much for coming up to me at the New York Build and starting this dialogue. And I hope that it continues with everybody. So thank you guys.
Thank you very, very much
I'm
for
going to
this.
stop recording and I'll stay on until actually
It
like the
was
next 4
wonderful,
minutes.
Erin. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.